Yo, what is going on? We're back. It's been a couple of days. I've been pretty busy, so had to get some shit done. But we're back. I'm off work today, and today we're gonna start off. I want to do the NFC. If I was a gambling man, would I take the over or the under on every team in the NFC? So let's get started early. What I mean, nothing crazy. Let's get straight to it. We'll start off with the Detroit Lions. I'm going to take a very skeptical over. I am kind of scared with the Lions. I don't really know whether or not I can trust them this year. I think that they're going to have a slight regression at offensive line. And when your strength is offensive line, and now it might be, say their offensive line is the eighth best in the league instead of top three in the league every year, that can still lead to a bit of an issue. I'm a heavy fan of building your team in the trenches, and I'm not on freak out mode. I'm not on panic watch with the Lions, but I think that a slight regression at offensive line and a loss of two coordinators could definitely big time lead to a drop in production. Now, their line is at 10.5, so I'm going to take a very slight over. I think they might win 11 games this year. Assuming health, assuming Hutch is back, assuming their defense is healthier this year, I would take the over. I think they will win about 11 games. They are second in the league in terms of strength of schedule, which is definitely nerve-wracking to some extent. I think that the loss of coordinators makes you lose about 3 games, and I think this is a perfect line from Vegas. 10.5 games is a perfect line. Like I said, second in strength of schedule by PFF. I would take a tentative over, somewhat concerned over, but the over nevertheless. We can move to the Chicago Bears. The line is set at 8.5. I'm going to take a sneaky over. I think the Bears are going to win 9 games this year, maybe 10 games. I think the divisions in this team, I think the top 3 teams in this division are going to have a very similar record. I'm pretty high on the Bears this year. I'm not going to lie. You have a gigantic improvement at coach and offensive line, and I liked their draft of I think it's Colston Loveland, the tight end that they drafted in the first round. I'm a big fan of what the Bears are doing this year. I like the fact that Ben Johnson is being tough. Also, random side note, I got to figure out what I'm going to do with this right here. I got a bunch of Raiders related old memorabilia that I want to display in the back. That is a football signed by John Madden that I got from one of my friends. Legit one of my most prized possessions right now. That is so cool. I've never that just, man, that's sick. But anyway, let's get back to the Bears. Give me some ideas on what to do, where to put that. I need like a case or a shelf or something in the back. I'll take a sneaky over on the Bears. The Packers. The Packers line is set at 9.5, and I'm taking the under. I know that's a shock. I know a lot of people are betting money on the Packers to win the Super Bowl, to make it to the Super Bowl, to win the NFC, to win the NFC North, to be such a great team. And as surprising as it is, I'm going to take the under here on the Packers at 9.5. Feels kind of dumb. I really like their coach, but here's my thing. Here's my reason. Hear me out. I do not trust Jordan Love to have an entire healthy / entire productive season. Every year there's at least like half of the year where he isn't that good, or half of the year where he's hurt or coming back from an injury. So I need to see him have a healthy season. I'm not very I like Matthew Golden, but bringing him in, I don't think he's going to be an instant wide receiver one addition to this team. So I don't think that they're going to have a true wide receiver one. As I think that Matthew Golden will be good in a couple years, and probably will be good this year, but I don't trust him to come in and instantly be wide receiver one, right? And besides that, I mean, Christian Watson might get cut. You have Jaden Reed and all kinds of Romeo Dobbs. The wide receiver core is a lot of 2s and 3s and 4s, and not a whole lot of 1s. So it's not a terrible receiver core. It's just not. It's not the best. And then the running game, of course, is going to be great with obviously your coach and the fact that you have Josh Jacobs. Man, miss that guy, but we got Genty now. But man, I think that the defense is probably taking a step back this year. I know a lot of people just seem to not care about the fact that their secondary is terrible. Xavier McKinney is awesome. He's a top 5 safety in the league. He's going to have a long career in the NFL. Kenny Clark is solid. and Rashawn Gary is solid. The secondary is going to be terrible, and I think that their D line is good, but not good enough to make up for the lack of a solid corners and really any DBs besides Xavier McKinney. I'm going to take a sneaky under. I actually think they win 9 games. I think, weirdly, the lines in the NFC North are, because of the fact that I'm not, a lot of people I feel like just want to bet the over on every team in the league. I'm a little cautionary about the NFC North this year. I think they're kind of all going to beat up on each other, and they all have things that I'm like, that could fuck up the season. And these lines are very similar, 10.5, 8.5, 9.5, and I think that they're all right on the money. I think the Packers are going to win like 9 games, 8 games, and the Bears are going to win like 9 games, 10 games. I think the Lions are going to win like 10 games, 11 games. This is where I'm going to annoy a lot of Minnesota fans. The Vikings line is set at 8.5, and I'm going to take the under. I know. They won 14 games last year. I don't care. I think that everybody gave all the credit to Kevin O'Connell. I think that Sam Darnold is good at football. I think he proved that when he threw for 4,000 yards and like 40 touchdowns. Darnold's arm talent was still a big reason of why that team was great. Of course, KOC is a fantastic coach. They have fantastic weapons. Their defense is unreal. But I also think that Sam Darnold showed out last year. We can't pretend like it was like they didn't lose. If any other team in the league went from a quarterback who threw for 40 touchdowns and 4,000 yards to a guy who we've never seen play NFL football, nobody would be this high on this, right? And I'm not a Vikings hater at all. I actually love watching the Vikings play. I think that Brian Flores is a fucking genius. Obviously, Justin Jefferson is thrilling, exciting to watch. Jordan Addison is an absolute beast. And I like watching Aaron Jones. I mean, this is an awesome team to watch. But I'm just not placing, with how good the other teams in this division are, right? I'm not placing all of my faith into J.J. McCarthy to win 9 games. It's his rookie year. I don't think he's going to be a shitty quarterback, but I'm not putting my hard-earned bucks that he's going to be the savior of the organization. Not like they need saving, of course. They won 14 games last year, but KOC is great. I just have a feeling they're going under. And also, they're third in the league in strength of schedule by PFF. They're going to be a great defense. I don't think they're going to be as exciting with offense. Justin Jefferson's going to get his numbers. You know, Aaron Jones is going to have a solid season. I'm sure that they'll have a nice option game going. And KOC is a great coach, but it's a guy's rookie year, and somehow there's just no credit to Sam Darnold, who I think, of course, right? Of course, like, people don't give Brock Purdy as much credit because of his coach. And I don't give Brock Purdy as much credit because of his coach. But we still have to give Darnold some credit. The man had some awesome plays. I mean, don't get me wrong, he shit the bed at the end of the year, but Sam Darnold was like third in MVP voting in like week 16. Like, this guy had a hell of a year. And of course, Kevin O'Connell is a quarterback whisperer. We all know that. And we all know Brian Flores is a fucking genius. But the Vikings spent a shitload of money in the offseason to try and even more shore up the defense, right? Unfortunately, all of the guys who they signed in the offseason to shore up that defense are coming back from injuries, right? So I'm not going to put a ton of stock into that yet. I know that they spent a ton of money, and I know that they have awesome weapons, and I know they have an awesome defense, but every team can't be an over. I have to take the under here. It's going to piss off a bunch of Minnesota fans, but what are you going to do? You know, let me get a sip. Sponsor me. We will move on to the NFC South. You have the Saints at 5.5 games. You cannot convince me that this team is going to be that close to being as good as the Panthers. I don't think they are going to do anything. I think there's a chance that they could win 2 games this year. I'm sorry, Saints fans. You don't deserve it. You guys have been loyal. You had to watch Drew Brees play with that terrible defense for all those years. But I think this team could legitimately win 2 games this year. Tyler Shuck is going to suck. The O-line is going to suck. The D-line is like, every good player on the D-line is like 36 and up. And they're probably going to get hurt. Alvin Kamara's old as shit. He's going to get hurt. It sucks to say that, right? I hate being like, this guy's getting hurt. This guy's probably not playing a full season. You obviously don't wish that. You hope that Alvin Kamara has a awesome season and doesn't get hurt. But this is for money. You know what I mean? This isn't for fucking vibes here. This isn't for a good time. This isn't to be a nice guy. I'm here to win money. If I was the Saints, believe it or not, I'm taking the under on 5.5. I know that's gross, but you got to take the under. The secondary sucks. The coach sucks. We're back to the Aints. Put the bags on your head. I'm sorry, Saints fans. I'm sorry, New Orleans. Great city. You guys don't deserve it. Panthers, 6.5 games. I am taking the over. They're 28th in the league in strength of schedule. I actually am higher on the running back room than a lot of people with Chuba Hubbard and Jonathan Brooks, two up-and-coming guys. I think the wide receiver core is improving. Same with Matthew Golden. I'm not betting my house that Teteroa McMillan, I hope I said that right. I'm not betting my house that Teteroa McMillan is going to be a wide receiver one instantly, but he's going to be a good wide receiver, which is better than they've been able to say for a long time. Sneaky Hunter Renfrow season, maybe. Maybe he can come in and be a slot guy. Maybe if he can figure something out. The defense is going to be pretty mid. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they're going to be atrocious. I think they'll probably be below league average. I would say somewhere in the low 20s. I think every team in this division is going to have a better record than you'd think because of how bad the Saints are. Sorry again, Saints fans, but you're getting 2 wins every year against that team. The defensive line, they're getting Derek Brown back, who's awesome. He missed pretty much all of last year. They signed Turgeon Wharton and Bobby Brown from the Chiefs and from the Rams, and I really liked the draft pick of Nick Scourton. I don't know how to say his name, the linebacker that they drafted. I think that don't get me wrong, they could be an average defense. I'm going to say they're probably going to be a below average defense and an acceptable offense. I don't think that their coach is terrible, Canales. I think that a lot of people shit on him. I think Bryce is starting to come into his own. I think I would take the over on the Panthers at 6.5 to win a sneaky 7, maybe 8. Just a smidge. Just creep over that line. The Falcons of Atlanta, their line 7.5. I would not bet on this, but I would take the over. It's nerve-wracking, but I would take the over. I don't like gambling on the Falcons. Morris kind of drives me nuts. And but here's my thing, right? I like Michael Penix. I think that he has insane arm talent, and I think he showed last year that he's decent. You know what I mean? He lost games, or he won. I think he won the last 3 games in overtime. Maybe that's what it was. Either way, was taking games to overtime against good teams. Put up a good performance last year, and nobody talked about it. I really liked the draft of James Pierce. I think that James Pierce is going to be an awesome edge rusher. I think he was the fastest edge rusher at the combine, and I really like James Pierce. I watched him at Tennessee a lot last year. I'm not a college football guy. I'm not going to pretend to be some scouting genius, but I do like James Pierce. I hope that he's good. I wanted my Raiders to draft Michael Penix a while ago when he got drafted, but the Falcons came and fucked it all up. But at least we got the best tight end in the league, so whatever. I would take a sneaky over on the Falcons. A lot of these are sneaky. I feel like a lot of people are like, this team's definitely going under, and this team's definitely going over, and this team's definitely doing this. There's no definitely here. Until we talk about the Tampa Bay Bucs. I'm slamming the over at 9.5. Slamming. I might actually gamble real money on this one. I'll tell you which one. Like, this is, if I had to gamble, this is one I would gamble. Bucs 9.5 games, slam the over. Come back, tell me how much money you want after the year. Slam the over. I think the Bucs could compete to be the 1 seed this year. And I think a lot of people are going to be like, ooh, Matt, what are you talking about? That's crazy. Their line's at 9.5. I think they're competing. I think they could be a top 3 seed this year. Real talk. I think that they could win 12 to 14 games this year. I love their mix of old guys who aren't yet washed and young guys who are coming into their own. You have old guys who are hanging on and young guys who are coming up. The team is getting better. I really, really liked the draft of Emeka Egbuka. I don't know if it's Mika, or I hope I'm pronouncing the last name correctly too. It's a nightmare over here as a white guy. I have no idea how to pronounce these names, but the wide receiver core is going to be awesome. I love Emeka Egbuka. I think that Chris Godwin is great. Mike Evans probably still having another 1,000-yard season. I think he's going to creep over it. I mean, in my opinion, he's nearly a Hall of Famer. And then when I'm talking about old guys who haven't lost it yet, Mike Evans, Vita Vea, their old ass linebacker whose name I can't remember right now. Those guys are still good, haven't fallen off yet. If they can still be maybe 5% worse than they were last year, I think this team gets better. I love the running back room with Bucky Irving, Rashad White. I almost said Rasheed White. Rashad White, Bucky Irving. I like that. And then on top of that, the offensive line is solid. Tristan Wirfs is one of the greatest tackles in the league right now. And Baker Mayfield is just a dude who makes your team better, gets the team fired up, and wins fucking games. Baker Mayfield is the exact kind of quarterback I'd want, who runs a motherfucker over in running out of bounds and starts hyping the fucking crowd up. There's nothing better to me than watching your quarterback. I know it's dumb. But I guarantee you those guys play harder for Baker Mayfield because he goes out there and he'll fucking throw a block. Baker Mayfield will go out there and put you on your ass. And I fucking love that. I love Baker Mayfield. I would slam the over on the Bucs this season. I think 9.5 is way too low. If I was setting the line, I'd set it like 11.5. I think they're much better than the Falcons, much better than the Panthers, much better than the Saints. They probably should go 6-0 in division. Knowing them, they'll go like 4-2. Awesome team. Love the Bucs. Love the Bucs. Bet on the Bucs. And if you lose money on that, come back and yell at me. I respect that. We'll start off with the NFC East here. We'll start in last place, probably, in terms of what their line is. The Giants are at 5.5. And I'm going to take a stinky under on the Giants. I think a lot of people would bet the under, but I think that they don't realize that this team's actually pretty decent. And I feel like the smart bet here is probably actually to take the over. Like, if you're like a dork, if you're one of those guys who wants to get like expected value, then you probably take the over because you're like, the D line's going to be awesome. I'm going to take just a just a shade under, just a fucking, I don't even know, a something under, a gross little under. I think they're going to win 5 games. They are first in the league in strength of schedule. They have the hardest schedule in the league. And that said, I think they win 5 games, which is honestly impressive. And I think that they might be the only team that wins 5 games that you hate to play against. Because fuck that defensive line. Holy shit. I mean, good God. That defensive line very well could be the best in the league. I think the rest of the defense, quite mid. Nothing really impressing me there. I don't really love the weapons outside of Malik Neighbors, who is kind of a bit of a diva. And I would expect that Russ is getting benched in like week 13 when they're like, 3 and 10. They're probably cooked. And then, Jackson Dart's a rookie. So as much as I think he's going to be good, I'm not expecting that guy to come in and affect winning immediately. I'm going to take a sneaky little under on the Giants. Sorry, New York. Cowboys, 7.5. 9th in the league in strength of schedule. I think the defense is going to suck. I think the run game is going to suck. So that's going to lead me to taking the under here. Dak Prescott's good. Normally when you have a good quarterback, you're going to win more than 7 games. I think they're going to win 6 or 7 games because I don't see this Micah shit panning out. I really don't. I think it's kind of fucking odd. I don't know what's going on. If he signs Micah, then maybe I would switch. But I just don't like it. I think that it's kind of gross. Jerry Jones said that David Mulugeta said to shove that contract up your ass, basically. He seems pissed at David Mulugeta, which is weird because he's like one of the most well thought of agents in the NFL. He gets guys a lot of money, which I guess maybe you would hate as an owner, but I think it's really, really odd that Jerry Jones is saying there's no room for a third guy in this discussion because he had a conversation with Micah Parsons. I think that's bullshit. Micah Parsons' job is to play football, not to negotiate his football contract. That's why the agent gets 5% or whatever, or 1% of his contract. I think that that's stupid as fuck. But that said, I'm going to take the under. I think that I like the fact that they drafted an offensive lineman. I think the Cowboys generally draft pretty well. They just don't do a good job of keeping those guys happy, weirdly enough. They're going to be in a ton of shootouts, and I'm not as high on the George Pickens thing as a lot of people are. Him and CD obviously going to be an awesome wide receiver core. Pickens might get pissy that he's not getting the ball enough. Micah, I don't think is going to play. If Micah comes back, then maybe they win 8 games. Maybe they're okay. But they're top 10 in the league in strength of schedule difficulty. And I think Dak's going to throw a lot of picks because they're going to be losing a lot of games. And they don't have anybody to run the ball. I do not know who their starting running back is. And that's a pretty easy thing to remember. right? I thought that it was that little short guy, Deuce Vaughn. Sorry, Deuce Vaughn. Didn't mean to disrespect you like that. Let me see who the hell is their starting running back this year. Their running backs, Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, Jaden Blue, and Deuce Vaughn. Yeah, this team sucks, and this running game is going to suck. And the team doesn't, the talent's good. I think the coach is going to suck. Sorry, Brian Schottenheimer. I don't think anyone else in the league would have gave this guy an OC job, and he's a head coach. I think it's weird. Jerry Jones in his press conferences keeps talking about how he loves how Brian Schottenheimer is deferring to other coaches. When I bring in a coach, I'm not going, man, you're really good at letting another guy coach. The fuck out of here with that. We're not going to do too much on the Cowboys. I think it's a bad coaching job, probably a bad coordinating job, too much drama on the team. Jerry Jones could die in the middle of the season. Obviously, you're not hoping for that, but I think he's losing his faculties a little bit. Obviously, you hope a guy stays alive. You don't hope anyone dies. But Jerry Jones getting real fucking old. I could see this season getting real funky for the Cowboys real quick. The Commanders, 9.5. I'm going to just barely sneak my way onto the over. I just got the news right now that Terry McLaurin signed a 3-year, $100 million deal. He's getting 33 a year. That's a fat contract. I think that puts him top 5 in the NFL. It's definitely an overpay. That said, you have a rookie quarterback. Pay the fucking players. Make the trades. Beef your team up. That's the time to get winning players. Is while your quarterback is on a rookie deal. You not have to pay him that much yet. Beef up that fucking team. I like the signing of Terry. Of course, in 2 years, it'll be looked at like it was a terrible contract, but not if they fucking compete for the Super Bowl. I'm barely taking the over, though. They are 8th in the league in strength of schedule. I think they win 10 or 11, maybe. I think they're going to actually be a better team and probably not look as good in the regular season and probably not look as good in the playoffs. I don't expect them to be in the conference championship game again, but I love Jaden Daniels. I'm going to expect maybe a slight regression from him this year. If he follows up the greatest rookie season I've ever seen with another awesome year, then we're going to have some nasty conversations. That was delicious. But yeah, I think they're probably going to be a better team that has a worse record, which sucks. Or at least not look as good in the regular season. They won a lot of weird games last year. They fucked me out of $250 in that Bears game. Never forget that. Tyreek Stevenson, even though you're my corner in my franchise league because you're fast and Madden, fuck you for that. Never forget. That's my 9-11. Eagles, 11.5. You have to take the over. You have to. But it is a little scary. But you do take the over. Anytime you're betting a team to win 12 games, it's a little nerve-wracking. They're 4th in the league in their strength of schedule. But they have the best fucking team in the league. So we're going to assume that they can win 12 games. I think that their minimum actually is winning 12 games. And that's assuming the health of Saquon. He held up well last year. And, I mean, it's hard to follow up a season where, including the playoffs, you had the most rushing yards ever. So that's always going to be a tough one. They are 4th in strength of schedule. Offensive line might get a little bit worse, but you got to take the over on the Eagles. Their young defense is getting better. Their defense, again, remember, was, I think, a little bit more inconsistent at the beginning of the year last year, kind of like the Ravens, where they got way better as the year went on. Cooper DeJean had a fucking pick 6 in the Super Bowl. There's no way you don't keep on getting better after that. Shout out to Cooper DeJean. Yeah, I mean, there's not really a whole lot to talk about with the Eagles. Howie Roseman is a fucking goat. Jeffrey Lurie is a fucking genius. Nick Sirianni, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see on that. But, you got to bet the over on the Eagles there. I will move on real quick to the NFC West. This right here is the funkier of the divisions for me to take overs and unders on, because every single team in this division fucking weirds me out. The Rams at 9.5. We'll just start off here because this is what matters to me. If Matthew Stafford plays all 17 games, I will take the over at 9.5. Give me 10 games to 12 games. It's a good roster. Defense is improving. I love Jared Verse. He's my edge rusher in my franchise league in Madden. And I think that they just have a hell of a team. I don't know how much Devontae Adams is really going to be a huge difference maker, but having Devontae Adams be your wide receiver 2 is awesome. He's going to get a fuckload of targets. Him and Matthew Stafford, I'm sure, will have an awesome connection. Matthew Stafford's awesome, but he has a fucking back injury. If he misses 3 or 4 games, I'm taking the under. Jimmy G fucking sucks, and if he plays football this year, the team is going to fucking suck. I think I picked this team to win the division, and in a nasty enough fashion, I think they could win this division at 9-8. I'm scared of Matt Stafford's health. I've hurt my back before. I have a protruding disc, and I fractured a fucking vertebrae in my spine, and my back's been fucked up forever. And I'm about the same fucking height as Matthew Stafford, I think. I might be bigger than Matthew Stafford, but I mean, that shit is not good. Back injuries are no fucking joke. So I'm going to very cautiously take the under. I actually think they finished first in the division this year and win 9 games. Assuming Matthew Stafford misses a couple games here and there with injuries, I have to sneakily take the under. If Matthew Stafford has a magical, healthy season, put him in the NFC Championship game. That's an odd one. And I've got another odd one. The San Francisco 49ers. Here. I'll do this. I'll take off the Raiders hat. I'll fix my fucked up hair. To prove that I'm not being an asshole, I'll take off the Raiders hat. I'm taking the under. I'm taking the under on the Niners. They have the easiest schedule in 25 years, and I don't trust this team. I think they didn't trade for Brian Robinson for no reason. I think that CMC's fucked. I love CMC, believe it or not, even though he's a Niner. He's an electric player. He's awesome in fantasy. He's fun to watch every single fucking year. I think CMC's cooked. Double Achilles tendonitis, that's fucking wicked for a running back. Kyle Shanahan could be in some trouble this year. They obviously won't fire him, but he won 6 games last year, I think, and I don't think this year is going to be much better. Their line is 10.5. I'm taking the sneaky under here. I think they might win. I think they might go 8-9. I think they could go 7-10. I think the defense is going to regress, and unfortunately, with the 49ers, I can't assume anything but atrocious injury luck. Every year, people are like, if they could just stay healthy, and they just don't, this wide receiver core is going to be one of the worst in the league. Your wide receiver one's going to be fucking Jawan Jennings or Ricky Pearsall, which is going to suck. Trent Williams is not getting any younger, and the rest of the offensive line sucks. You even lost his backup. I think it was like Aaron Banks or some shit who went to the Chiefs. I can't remember his name. If that's right, I'm him. This team could win 7 games, or they could win 13 games. You really do not know. This is just like the Rams, kind of funky. A lot of these teams are kind of injury prone. Ugh, weird. Don't like it. I don't know. I'm taking the under. Schedule is easy. A lot of people are like, oh my God, the schedule's so easy. Unfortunately, I think everybody in the NFL or anybody who's ever participated in anything NFL related will tell you there's no such thing as an easy schedule in the NFL. It might be easy according to the stats, but I mean, the Giants are an easy game according to strength of schedule. That team's not going to be fucking easy to play against, though. The only piece of their offensive line that I like is Trent Williams. The only piece of their receiver core that's good is Hurt, and even then he had an atrocious year last year. I don't trust Brock Purdy to carry the team. I think that he could be a good piece on a team that makes the Super Bowl or wins the Super Bowl. I don't think that he could be the best player on the team. And, I mean, that's probably George Kittle, but I think the defense is going to have a regression. Don't get me wrong. Dre Greenlaw was not healthy for that team, and neither was Hufanga. Neither of them were known to be pillars of health. But what else do I expect from the Niners besides for them not to be pillars of health? I'm going to have to take the under. Sorry, Kyle Shanahan. I think he'll make Brian Robinson look awesome this year. I think that's a good fantasy handicap. If you take Brian Robinson and have him, sit around, I think I might do that, actually. Now that I'm done talking about the Niners, I can put this hat back on so I have credibility that I wasn't hating. The Seahawks. This, again, like I said, this whole division weirds me the fuck out. The Seahawks line is at 8.5, and I'm going to take the over. I think them and the Rams have the same record. The Rams win the division by whatever bullshit-ass tiebreaker. This is an odd prediction. I know. It's an odd prediction. I think that the Seahawks also finish 9-8. I think the Rams, if Stafford is healthy, win the division. If he's unhealthy, I think they are going to suck. And I think that the Seahawks could be a big time sleeper to win the division this year. Because if the Niners have the same injury problems and the same receiving core problems, and the Rams aren't healthy, the Seahawks could 100% swoop in and win this division. I'm going to take the over. I think they've drafted exceptionally in the last couple years. I think that their addition of Gray Zabel this year was awesome. I watched some tape of him. He looks fucking sick. Their offensive line was atrocious last year. It's improved. I think that they're getting better at quarterback with Sam Darnold. Probably. Who knows? Maybe I did a whole thing gassing up Sam Darnold. Now he's going to suck. Never know. But if he's top 5, or if he's top 15, I mean, it's going to be about the same. And I think they've drafted well. I think they're not getting any worse. And they did good last year. And I think that my opinion on the Seahawks has changed a little bit. I love Gray Zabel. I love Nick Emenwari. Last year they drafted Byron Murphy, who's on the up and coming. I like Clint Kubiak as their offensive coordinator. I'm going to take a sneaky over here. I think they could win 9 games. I think they could win 10 games. I think they could win the division. I think if the Niners have another fucked up year and the Rams don't have Matthew Stafford, hey, Seahawks could do it. I think they're going to be an awesome defense. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Seahawks this year. And we will finish this off with I haven't done that yet, your Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to take an under. They're at 8.5. I think this is a 5 or 6 win team. I think their defense is going to suck. I don't trust Kyler Murray to either stay healthy or be good the whole year. We'll see if he's good after Thanksgiving finally. Maybe he's finally gotten tired of playing Call of Duty. Sorry, that's unnecessary hating. I don't think their offensive line is going to be great. I don't think their defensive line is going to be great. Marvin Harrison Jr. needs to take a big step or else he's a bit of a disappointment at this point. Sorry, I know that's early. I know it feels like I'm being an asshole, but I expected this guy to be generational. He has not been that yet. Hopefully, I saw that he put on a bunch of muscle. He could use it. I hope that he ends up being really good, but he needs to take a big step for this team to win 9 games. This team would need a fucking miracle, in my opinion. The running back room's cool. James Conner's cool. Trey Benson is an awesome backup in Madden, or an awesome guy to pick up in Madden. Has star dev, has like 94 speed. You know, he's pretty cool. I'm not selling my soul and betting my 401k on the Cardinals, though. I'm going to take the under for the Cardinals. And that's really all that we're going to do today. I feel like, we just banged out a good 33 minutes. I got some energy. I'm a little fired up today. It's been a while. I'm ready to watch football. I'm ready for the NFL to be back. I'm juiced. I've been watching fucking John Gruden for like 2 days. I'm fired the fuck up.